nerfs, buffs, so many changes coming to the overall economy of what we know is the RuneScapean landscape. How you doing, everybody? My name is Ed Moose. Welcome to the channel. And today on stream we talked about the ginormous news post that came out, the game health update, pretty much covering everything in the economy from inflation, buffs to drop tables, huge nerfs, the drop tables, and the overall thoughts from the community on relation to Treasure Hunter not really being mentioned in this, the overall strike and damage is going to happen to Iron Man, and the overall common casual player clocking in from their 9 to 5 to play some Scape and how their day-to-day is going to be affected. Hope you enjoyed the listen. A very long one today. This was a huge news post. Didn't even realize it was 2 pages long and like 18,000 billion words. I was not prepared to read it all, but I did it just for you, Pookie. Be sure to leave me a like, subscribe, and let me hear your thoughts in the comments. I'm sure everybody has been roaming through Reddit, Twitter, and also your Discords, and talking with your clannies. I love to hear everybody's thoughts about it, and I'll talk to you in right now, actually. A-game health feedback response. This is in the response to the Zamorak nerfs, and pretty much like everything in the PVM world getting nerfed in relation to what was going on with like skilling and trying to make skilling more rewarding. And so this is Jagex's cooked up response to that. Their main thing that the community was talking about when that was a huge problem was more so in that Treasure Hunter is way too overpowered in it, right? So that's the main thing, because you got porters, dummies, XP bomb, prismatic stars, prismatic, all these events that usually comes into this. Now we're going to see what the overall response is to that in relation to how they're going to try and rebalance the game economy in terms of boss drops and to make skilling more rewarding. That should be the main primary goal for that, okay? Let's take a look at this. This is part 1 of our May game health feedback response. You will find a link to part 2 at the bottom of this page, and the second part will also feature in our news list on the website launcher. Hey everyone, we've spent some time in our balancing dungeon. Jesus Christ, is that where they keep the devs? We're back today to give you an update on the recent economy changes that we discussed last month as part of the game health update. There you go. I'll move this over so the chat's not ripping through it. This is included in the summary of the game health update to tune the drop tables to a handful more recent bosses and wilderness flash events due to the effect that they have on the game's economy. We made the mistake of not covering this in a lot of detail, which understandably caused a lot of confusion and frustration and overall mayhem. And it was a very bad time. It's one of those classic moves that Jagex does where it's like, hey, I got an idea, and just throw it in there, and everyone's like, ah! You know what I mean? It was pretty bad, leaving you without much context or explanation. There were also some clear concerns in the community about certain content where we were touching too. We delayed the initial response to refine our approach based on your feedback and provide a more detailed look at our intentions, which is this blog. We'll start by explaining what exactly is a game health update, because they explained this first at RuneFest, and everybody was like, what the fuck is a game health update? Essentially, it is like, it's like maintenance. It's maintenance mode for the game, essentially, right? You change oil in your car, they have to fix your servers, or like this stuff, you know? What type of things they cover and why they matter. In the second part of this blog, we'll break down the drop table changes discussed last month. That's the big kicker. That was the big thing. Nuking Zamorak, nuking, what was it? The buff to Raksha, a whole bunch of other stuff, including adjustments we've made since delaying them and providing our reasoning for making all of the changes that we have. What are game health updates? Broadly speaking, the term game health update is an umbrella term for any form of changes that we make to the game which we deem necessary to maintain and improve how the game is doing. This can refer to game progression dude, this big ass word. Game progression encapsulates things such as skilling, questing, unlocks game difficulty, and game modes such as Iron Man. The game's economy with rebalances, which can encompass buffs, nerfs, neutral changes. Is there anything known like a neutral change though? I don't know what a neutral change would be like. The game systems and how you interact with the game, such as the tutorial system, clan system, grouping system, user interface. I'm so glad they brought this up. It's specifically the clan system. The clan system in this game is extremely outdated. It was cool when it came out. It was really, really nice when they introduced clans with citadels and clan chats and everything. I remember when they brought that in. It was a really, really cool time. People would skill at the clan camp. Now nobody does anything. And if you run a clan, you know the pains of running a clan, and there's a lot of ways they can streamline that. The clan system is a huge, huge, huge pain in the ass for everybody, and I really got to rework that. I really want them to touch that one very soon. Quality of life updates in various forms. So usually a lot of these quality of life changes are like patch notes and stuff. Technical updates such as coding and code performance and maintenance. I think those are really important as well. It keeps the game running smoothly. GP, Alkabos, inflation. I think these are very, very common head hurters, and I think this is a very big portion. For you guys in chat, I'm going to read you guys stuff in a minute. I'm going to continue through this. Alkabos bring a lot of raw GP into the video game. Dude, I met a dude. There's a guy in chat who comes in here. Literally, he buys Ascension bolts and, like, alks them all the time. Like, that is just straight GP injection. It's insane. And there's people do that all the time. Alkabos bring a lot of raw GP into the game, and sometimes more than we're comfortable with. A big reason for this is because so many bosses covered. A big reason for this is why many bosses are covered within this update. Such amounts of gold injection into the game contributes heavily to inflation. While inflation itself is not a bad thing, uncontrolled inflation certainly is. An overabundance of GP in the game means that item prices also fluctuate. Yeah, damn right. Requiring more GP to buy items overall, and results in an inconsistent player understanding of item values. Case in point, you get a drop, you put it in the GE, the dopamine is waiting for the fucking gold bar at the bottom. Nothing, doesn't sell. That's super frustrating. Or sometimes the complete opposite. You sell something in the GE, and then it sells for like 300 mil more. Like, not having accurate prices is a very frustrating thing for everybody. In other scenarios, high amounts of accessible GP can also hurt the game's progression. Like in case of Iron Man mode, where the objective is to play RuneScape with limitations that are to impose a harder game difficulty. God, thank you so much for the follow, brother. Appreciate it. Many of you will have seen game update from our January 2020. Damn, dude, what? 2023. Oh yeah, death cost a matter of life and death. Okay, yeah, which showed the top 10 gold sources and how much they added to the game each day on average. We provided that same data again, included the up-to-date changes from the up-to-date data from this month for comparison to demonstrate the situation we're in right now. So in 2023, that's when they changed how much death cost was, because if you were switching all this shit, it was gonna cost you like 30 mil when you died. Because that's how they were combating inflation. It was terrible for people getting into PVM. At the time, I was one of those players. I was poor. I was trying to make money PVMing. And because no one would take me because I kept dying, or the team kept dying, it was very, very frustrating for everybody. So they changed that, and now death costs are like 5% of whatever it was before. So now this is what it was before in 2023, when how much gold was getting added into the game. Am I reading that right? How much gold was getting added into the game? Is that what they're talking about? Is this the gold coming into the game or out of the game? Average GP added. Okay, yeah, this is the average gold added. Okay, this is the average gold added into the game in 2023. Alkabos, oh my god, 93 billion gold every single day into the game. That is disgusting. Wow. All right. Okay, I thought I was happy getting like my 32 mil from gold from Alkings, but that's kind of nuts. 43 people selling in the stores? Why is there so much gold coming in, selling in the stores? High alking, okay. Not too upset about high alking. That means people are physically alking things. Okay. Unless you're bots, that's kind of bad. Monster drops on the floor. This seems like a okay number. Monster drops, advanced gold net. This is a gold accumulator. Oh, they put the treasure hunter bag in there. Okay, so treasure hunter is 4% of this number. Okay. The money tree, you plant these ones in like Ardoin or whatever. Okay, they give you straight coins of money. Privileged pickpocketing, that's very interesting. That's kind of far into the game to get that much from there. Direct coin prizes. Is this trillion or billion? Trillion. No, billion. 1 billion a day. Okay. That means one dude's winning. One big pot. Crystal chest, 884 million. And then 2 billion in other. So alkables are literally almost 50% of the amount of stuff going in. That is insane. Okay. So the average now, it got worse. So the average now, May 2025, alkables went from 92 million to 101 million. High alking is now number 2. Okay. 57 million. That's doubled. Spring cleaners. Was this even on there? Oh, spring cleaner wasn't even on here before. Okay. Spring cleaners, 39 billion. Monster drops on the floor, 19 billion. Gold Manic, 19 billion. Treasure Hunter, did that go up? 5 billion here. 8 billion. So it went down. Okay. So Treasure Hunter cash went down. 5 billion. It went down. That's good. Treasure jam. So general stores went from 43 billion a day to 3? What the fuck? Okay. I wonder what happened there. People stopped running their stores or something. Money tree still 1 billion. No more pickpocketing 1 billion. Okay. 6 billion from other. I wonder what this other is. As you can see, High Alchemy is a breadwinner, either directly or through things like invention machines, the spring cleaner. Compared to January 2023, invention machines are now bringing in an extra 20 billion GP every day. Meanwhile, GP introduced from direct High Alchemy has more than doubled. That's what I'm saying, dude. It's crazy. It's clear from this data that we have to take action due to the effects of having these effects. Item influx and oversupply, similarly to the overabundance in items, also negatively impact their prices. Yes, to put it simply, the more of an item that comes into the game and stays in the game, the less value it has over time. Think of Rasial, right? Lanterns went from like 1.2 billion to like 600 mil, baby. That is insane, insane. General stores were affected by cash bag increase. People don't need to sell shards anymore. Got you, dog. Got you. Okay. Makes a lot of sense when they changed it, when they adjusted from like the 2.1 billion mark to like making it like a fucking quintillion number that you can hold in your coin pouch. Makes sense. Makes sense. A decreasing value of an item leads to dwindling terms of how strong they may have across the board. What this means is a boss that was once decent for commons is now depending more heavily on the bigger drops. Again, I don't know what example that would be. What this means, okay, skilling profitability can simultaneously suffer as items that may have once been sought after from skilling are now oversupplied from other places. Think alcohols. Think why they changed the spirits, the dropping ores and bars into stone spirits. Think like seeds turning into herbs turning into seeds. They try to balance things out for the people to go farm, people to go smelt shit. Which I think is a good change. I think it's okay. I think it's crap because they don't sell for anything. But I think the idea, the mentality behind it is decent. But the execution is where it's lacking. Additionally, a decrease in value also means it's harder to place that item on other drop tables, especially in new content. We all love new content, right? By addressing these situations, it allows us to maintain at rate which items come into the game, reducing the oversupply over time allows the item to once again gain some value, which is always good. We love more expensive things sometimes. Although the effects of this usually won't be immediate. People don't understand that as well. Like a lot of these things take a lot of time. When you change an entire economy with like thousands of people going it, like it's not gonna just plummet immediately. You'll have like big spikes of things, but it's not gonna change immediately. We know from many past changes, such as the Croesus drop table adjustments back in 2023, that prices do recover given some time. For example, cockatrice eggs, what a specific item, dropped from 6.5k GP to as low as 100 GP with the Croesus release. Though ever since February 2023, drop table adjustments, they've continued to trend back upward, currently at 1.1k. Wow, that is a spike, dude. The image below shows the past 5 years of price data for the cockatrice eggs and key points of which it changed. Can I open this? Okay, so this is when it was released. Croesus release was 2021. It was 6.5k. The plummet is insane because people were just spamming the foot fungus, baby. That's crazy. Lowest price ever recorded 1 year later. Exactly 1 year later. That's wild. Okay, 102 GP. Drop table adjustments February 2023, and it has slowly tracked back up. So it's crazy when you make these giant changes. Like there is a tremendous amount of damage to the economy when that happens, and it takes a long time to recover. That was 4 years ago. Part 2. All right, this is where the data comes in. Breakdown of changes. Although last month's news post was only a summary. Instead of the following is supposed to be providing more context. Following the delay of the update, we sat down once again. Quit sitting. Just change things. On the flip side, On the flip side, we increased the chance for rare items in several places, remedying the situations such as, the core is going to be more common. Thank God. Slightly turning the boot drops at Raksha to reduce how often they dropped in favor of other rares. Notably, you'll see an almost complete removal of items. Oh my God, thank God. The inert energy crystals and ceramic scales. Thank goodness. I didn't just teleport out if I get those, bro. They're fucking worthless. We've done this as the value of them has dropped too significantly due to the sheer volume of them coming into the game. Limiting the supply of them this way will allow them to regain some of their value over time. All right. Wow. All right. There's a lot of changes. So Kerapac. This is the first nerf that we're going to go over. Kerapac, a normal mode. Decreased the quantity of coins, dropped from 158k to 100 to 158k to 250k to 100 or 150k. That's a good change. When it is going to affect, we're gonna look for a sec. We're gonna look in a moment, Ruby. Thanks for being first time chatter, baby. Appreciate it. Welcome in. Decrease the quantity of large plated orichalcum salvage from 2 to 4 to they cut it in half to 1 to 2. Decrease the amount of cannonballs dropped from 459 to 550 to 200 to 200 to 300. Decrease the quantity of dragonkin bones from 20 to 30 to 10 to 15. Cut in half. Quantity of royal jihad from 94 150 to 75 to 90. Decrease the quantity of soul runes from 80 to 120 to 50 and 100. Yo, Ruby, thanks for the follow, brother. Appreciate it. Decrease the quantity of light amethyst stone spirits from 41 to 57 to 30 to 40. Okay. Oh, the primal's a big one. So primal stone spirits are already a really, really good drop. And with this, they're gonna, I think they're just like they know it's in a good spot right now, because I get happy getting primal stone spirits. But right now they're gonna try to maintain the value that it's at right now. That's good. So it's going from 25 to 35 to 13 to 18. Decreasing fire battle staffs this is another hit on alchables. 30 to 61 to 15 to 30. Replace inert energy crystals with super magic 3s. That's probably better because these are going to overloads, and I think people use overloads way more often than they do like what's it called? Adrenaline stuff, potions. Drops at a quantity of 4 to 8. Increase the maximum quantity of manuscripts of jazz from 1 to 2. So they're trying to bring the jazz stuff down. Increase rare drops by 1%. So the rare drops for normal Kerapac is what? Wrist wraps and G-Conk. And I don't think this includes pets. Hard mode, decrease. Okay, so hard mode is something that I care about because I do hard mode content. So cutting the from okay, so I'm gonna do the maximums only because I can't read both these numbers. Okay, I'm gonna do the maximums only. Decrease the quantity of coins dropped from 600 to 400. Decrease the quantity of large plated cum salvage from 8 to 6. Decrease the quantity of cannonballs. Oh, dude, not the cannonballs, dude. Not the cannonballs, bro. I love cannonball drops. From 1200 to 800. If cannonballs maintain a 1k average, 1 to 1.5k, that's still good. That's still a good drop. Decrease quantity of dragonkin bones from 110 to 70. Damn. Decrease dragon d'hide from 115 to 90. Soul runes 300 to 250. Uncut dragonstone 60 to 52. Light amethyst stone spirits 120 to 100. Primal stone spirits 50 to 32. Another alchable hit. Fire battle staffs 90 to 72. Again, replacing the adrenaline crystal with super magics from a quantity of 8 to 12. Okay, increases now. Increase Hydrix bolt tips from 45 to 50. Jazz pages are going from 1 to 2. What? Increase the drop rate of fractured staff pieces by 13%. Increase the remaining drop races for remaining rares from 6.2. That's a... Ooh, okay. Getting kind of spicy with it, okay. That's a fat increase. All right, I like that. Everything else is kind of brutal, but the 13% increase in drop pieces is kind of nice. That's kind of cool. The above changes are aimed at reducing the influx of most of these items, including raw GP in the form of coins and alchables. The removal of inner energy crystals similarly aims to choke the oversupply chain of them, so they can regain some value over it as time passes. This will be the same for the rest of the changes as we discussed today. The maximum drop of quantity for manuscripts has an increase to make this drop more rewarding, with a similar outlook on increasing drop rates for other pieces such as the staff pieces. Wow. All right. That's crazy. Arch-Glacor. Oh wait, how long is this page? Oh god. All right, we're gonna go over. I don't really care about Arch-Glacor. I'm gonna look at the rares. I don't really care about normal mode, hard mode. Coins, Hydrix's, Orcal comes going from 15 to 5. Don't care about talismans. Onyx Dust goes from 30 to 15 for Arch-Glacor. Spirit Weed Seeds are replacing with water runes, or 40 water runes. Replace Serenics with cannonballs to 100 quantity of 100. Increase the drop chance of a rare roll and contribution of enrage by 50%. Increases the results of 50% to a rare roll. Increase the chance of a frozen core by 4%. Decrease the chance to get a scripture of when. Decrease the chance to get a Lang artifact. These were both super common. So that's good to see that the core's coming up, because cores are fucking rare. But seeing these two drop, that's kind of good. I like that one. RP FSOA going down. I mean, FSOA just doubled in price. It just did. Firstly, the base quantities of many of the hard mode drops were reduced due to the sheer number of these coming into the game introduced every single day. These values are multiplied by kill streaks numbers, resulting in a overly high quantity. This is very, very true. You watch anybody do a high enrage Arch-Glacor and they got like 3,000 water talismans in one kill. It's insane. Simultaneously, we increase the drop chance of the roll rare to receive a frozen core by shifting the weighting of the scripture and the artifact. As we know, a common feeling against the community is that Arch-Glacor is a bit too stringy with this drop. Spirit Weeds have been removed due to the quality of them being introduced to the game every single day, and their price drop over since Raksha's release to allow to regain some value again. Those of you who are okay, this is good. So if you already have an ongoing streak already for Arch-Glacor, let's see. Those of you who have existing streaks and unclaimed chests will have the streak ended, and you will need to claim your current loot. Dude, if you're going for 200 kill streak, you better do that fast, brother. You better do that immediately. Your existing loot will remain unaffected by the above changes. If you're on a streak currently, we recommend finishing that before these come into the game. That's it. Hurry it up, boy. Hurry it up, boy. That's it. Hurry it up, boy. Damn. All right. Yo, here we go. So Zamorak is a huge influx of gold into the game. It is easily like the biggest money maker in the game, hands down. So I want to see what these changes are gonna look like. I need a sip of water. I've been yapping too long. Oh my god. All right, story mode. Who gives a fuck about story mode? Okay, but they dropped down some alcohols. Maybe some bots are running it. Okay, nothing crazy in story mode. Okay, I know a lot of people do normal mode Zamorak, so I'm interested to see this one. Decrease the chance of Onyx Dust by 3%. Good. Zamorak is the #1 contributor to Onyxes in the video game. 90% of every single Onyx added into the game of RuneScape comes from Zammy the Rak, dude. It is insane. So that's good that they're dropping down the Onyx Dust chance, replacing Serenic Scales with large, spiky Rune Salvage. Drops quantity of 3 to 6, increases the chance of receiving any slivers. Good. Increase the chance of getting any slivers of pain, power, and strength by 1%. Very good. I made a moneymaker in this. Very, very good. You should check that out. Sleeper moneymaker. Decrease the quantity of huge bladed rune salvage from 70 to 23, 30 to 5, and 5. So from 7 to 30, and from 23 to 10 for the large bladed, for the huge bladed salvage. Large bladed salvage goes from 35 to 9, from 12 to 4. So it's like 1/3 essentially. The 1 and 3 drop chance is unchanged. Decreases the amount of small plated salvage, 6 to, and then tooth halves from, you'll get like 1 to 2 now. Added variance to some drops which only had a single base quantity. Soul Runes now dropped 3 to 4. Okay, much of the changes in Zamorak Undercity were simply to add variance to drop quantities, as items were being dropped in static quantities each time. A bug preventing Dark Anima Stone Sweeps from dropping was also fixed. The chance to receive Onyx as a drop has also reduced, with the weighting being shifted to each of the slivers, which is solid. Okay. All right, let's see. When you see a decrease or increase in value weight, these have been an inverse effect of Zamorak's drop table given an allowance of drops. Each drop is worth an amount of points, and these points are deducted from the total allowance. This means that the smaller number of value weight, the more of that which the item would be actually received. Basically, a decrease in value weight is a buff, whereas an increase is a nerf. Okay, so if this number goes up, it's a nerf. If this number goes down, it's a buff. Torso seeds, don't give a fuck. Dwarf wheat seeds, don't care. Blood runes, okay, that's a good one. 200 from 300 to 250, okay. Soul runes, 210 to 150, okay. Increase, so it's a nerf. Hydric bolt tips, 120 to 60. Ooh, that's in half. Hydric bolt tips, 180 to 72. This is an attack on the alkers. This is for the people who are alking everything. From 10 to 8. Accursed ashes, decrease value, so this is a buff. Decrease the amount you're getting, but you'll get it more often. Decrease the quantity of small plated orichalcum salvage from 18 to 10. Nerf from 3 to 4. Infernal Pyroclast from 7 to 10 to 5 to 2 and 5, cutting that in half. A buff from 2 to 1. Oh shit! Replace the uncut onyx with a Chaos Relic uncommon. That is a huge nerf. That is a huge nerf. A Onyx is 1 mil alk value. A Chaos Relic is like 100k. Oh my days. Drops at a quantity of 10 to 20. Increased value of 5 to 6. Wow. That is a huge nerf. But again, what did I just say? Zammy brought in 90% of the shit. I don't blame him. Damn, that sucks. All right, damn. Value weight of Chaos Relics, 5 to 6. That's a nerf. Increase the chance of getting a bow. Ooh. Increase chance of getting a bow last guardian, 10% at a rate is 500% and above. Okay. I like this change. All right, okay, I like this one. Increase the chance of getting a bow piece, and 10% at a rate is 500% and above. So you 499 and belowers, y'all better get good and better get good fast. That's a pretty big change. Oh, hold on. That's crazy. Oh my gosh. Guys, that is insane. That is insane. All right, much like, and in some cases, even more problematic than, Arch-Glacor, Zammy, drop tables mechanics, and the Enrage mechanic were heavily affected by the quantity of drops received. The decrease in quantities you see above is to bring this more under control. Because like the other bosses we're discussing today, Zamorak is responsible for bringing a lot of these items into the game. To elaborate, this is how much Zamorak is responsible for. I fucking told you. 90% of the uncut onyxes are brought in. With AOD at 4%. This guy is a criminal. My goodness. 75... Oh, I gotta buy... Yo, spam buy blood runes, baby. Blood runes, 75%. Coming in from Zammy, 6% from nightmare creatures. 80% of the onyx bolts coming into the game are from Zammy. 11% from Rasial. I blame the campers. 79% of the hydric bolts coming in the game. 2% at 12%. 85% of ashes. 55% of dwarf seeds. 70% of lanodine seeds. Both of these seeds are worth dog. The above values are referring to drops from NPCs and don't include items that are made by players or received from other rewards like chests. Here's another fun statistic. As of writing this blog, in the past 3 days, Zamorak alone dropped on average twice the amount of blood runes crafted by players on that day. Who the hell would run runes if you can camp Zamo the Rack, baby? Oh my goodness gracious. That is insane. Looking back further than 3 days, on some days it was 4%. 4 times. Oh my god. When it comes to onyxes, Zammy takes the cake. Uncut onyxes were for a while near alk value, though they need to receive a return from mid-2010 2020 to mid-2021, but have since been flatlined to alk value. The change to this drop is to choke over the oversupply and let onyxes breathe a little. In terms of GP, every day Zamorak brings in a total of 31 billion GP in alkables. 8 billion from salvages, 6 billion from another set of salvages, 7 billion from bolt tips, 9.4 billion from onyx bolt tips, if high alking. Oh my goodness. If you remember our data of gold sources from earlier in this blog, the spring cleaner sat at rank 3, bringing in the average to 39.4 billion every single hoita, every single day. Although it's not a direct comparison, Zamorak alone would also sit at 3rd place for the amount of gold he brings in with these 4 drops. My god. Okay, here come the Zuk nerfs. I'm looking at normal mode and hard mode. Replace ceramic scales with Elder Stone Spirits, drop quantities at 25. Shifted some of the chances to receive various items on the common drop table to Elder Wood Spirits. The changes above were made to target alkables. Wait, did they change drop rates? No. Remove against ceramic scales and let them breathe a little. Biggest change overall was to prevent players from purposely failing and repeat inserting waves of the fight to farm drops from the minions while AFK. When looking at the data, we found a disproportionate amount of players killing regulars and an igneous hers on wave 4 of the fight. Instead, drops will now only be given upon the first attempt of these waves. Failing and repeating the wave will not give subsequent drops. Kind of kills a very niche moneymaker. I didn't even know people were still doing this. I know this was popular around release. I didn't think people were still doing this. But okay. Incentivize doing the content. I like that. Oh, it's for irons. Okay. Oh my god, here comes Raksha. Oh god. Oh god. I need a swig for this one. Decrease. Okay, let's see. Alkables first. All the alkables are cut in half. Oh my god. From 50 to 15 and 22? Brother. Oh my god. From 18 to 7, and huge orichalcum from 15 to 8. Decrease the onyx dust amount, one of the better comments, from 125 to 33. Why are they nerfing the dinosaur bones? Let the dinosaur bones be. From 120 to 100. Okay, it's not that bad. I'm overreacting. It's not that bad. Crystal keys, 45 to 14. RP irons, again. Dark Anabica stone spirits, 90 to 80. Same things. Replacing spirit weeds with Arbuck seeds. Okay. We'll see how Arbucks withstand. What do Arbucks make? I don't know what Arbucks make. Replace golden dragon fruit seeds with Siku seeds. I don't even know what these make either. See, because I don't skill. Why would I skill if I can just kill things and make money that way? Maybe I'll start my farm runs again. Replace inert energy crystals with catalytic anima stones. Drops in quantities of 40 to 60. Increase the chance of getting this dropped. Remove ceramic scales. Decrease the chance of getting laceration, blast diffusion, and fleeting boots. This change effectively makes the ability books and the shadow spikes more common. Once again, oh, because instead of rolling those, you'll roll the books or the spikes instead. That makes sense. Okay. However, we also made a decision to replace some of these items on the drop table to give some value to Raksha with other drops. As many of you rightfully pointed out, Raksha's comments were already not great. Yes, they're awful. Everybody knows KJ calls this thing a noob trap because everybody will camp Raksha thinking, I'm gonna get an 800 mil Greco, a 700 mil Grand Chain, and you get nothing but fucking ceramic scales, and it's the most frustrating ever. So Raksha's comments suck already. So it's a very good point that they're bringing up. Much of this was due to the overabundance of the items and subsequent bosses that have dropped the same items. Shadow, you're right. They have not talked about Treasure Hunter yet. Well, they talked about like how much gold comes in through that, but we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. I'm curious. For sure, many of you are delighted to see that Raksha now drops Arbuck seeds. Finally, we once again increase the chance of receiving some rares of the books and the shadow spikes, decreasing chances of boots. All right, Wilderness Flash events. Wilderness Flash events are ginormous for the Iron Man and lower level community. They are easily one of the most important things that people do when they are beginning an account. Everybody who started a group Iron Man knows the importance of these items and what this event does. It gives you a lot of XP, gives you a lot of early cash, gets you a lot of early things to begin with. So nerfing this is hurting the everyday noob. So let's see what this looks like. Decreasing the amount of bloodweed seeds from 3 to 2, not bad. Wyvern bone drops from 10 to 6. Infernal ashes 50 to 40. So it's impacting your prayer training immediately. Muddy keys from 4 to 3. So these don't actually look that bad. That doesn't look that bad. Because you can do them every hour. If you're like me, I do them like only for the special, the very rare rewards. So, but you can do these ones every hour. So you're still getting a good influx if you're sticking on top of it. Now, the very wild rewards. This is the one that everybody does. I'm talking Tree, KBD, Worm, the Star. Any of those drop the core, the Dark Onyx core. So that's what usually everybody's looking for, the 700 mil whatever drop that is. So this is the very slim sack everybody loves to see. So decreases the magic loss from 300 to 150. Decrease the chance to get this drop. 300k coins to 150k coins. Redistributed the chance of getting drops. Redistributed the chance of removing items to other items broadly across the drop table. Replace large blunt necronium salvage with large blunt orichalcum salvage. How much is that in that difference? Oh no, necronium. Isn't Necronium more expensive than Orichalcum? Increase the chance to get this drop. Replace. Oh, that's good. Okay, but Criminal Bolts were used to be a sleeper moneymaker. Now, if they gotta make crossbows better, but they also were still viable to some degree because people need Hydric bolts. So, but like because wilderness shit dropped it so often, it didn't matter. It replaced it with runes. This gives a random number of runes paused from a regular combination, excluding necromantic and time runes. Added a very rare chance of receiving a magical thread. That's good. Removed Necronium salvage. Oh, removed the weapons from the very rare. Okay. Increase the chance of receiving the weapons from Wilderness Slayer. Okay, I like that. I would much rather get these from Wilderness Slayer instead of only getting them in sacks. That's pretty good. Split the Lucky Charm for Zamorak to also include Dragonkin Laboratory. 50% to get either one. Holy shit! Increase the Dark Onyx core drop by 50%? Holy shit! Oh my god! That is gonna plummet. That is gonna plummet. Oh my goodness gracious. Wow. But that means it's gonna be more common. That's good to see. All right, because it's a niche thing. Not many people would hunt this thing. Wilderness Slayer chest. Not many people do these anyways, but I guess it is pop. Would be good to see. Wilderness. So they're increasing everything. They're just buffing the wilderness chest pretty much. They're decreasing very minor changes of dragon trinkets, not nothing crazy. Wilderness flash events are very popular pieces of content, bringing players regularly together, especially for special events. I love wilderness flash events, one of my favorite pieces of content in the game, hands down. I really love these, and I love going into the wilderness to these. One of the biggest offenders in terms of drops was the Necronium salvage, which was now replaced 1-to-1 with Orichalcum salvage. To maintain supply, the quantities of these drops, such as Bloodweed Siege, Magic Logs, Wyvern Bones, were also reduced. One notable such as the Criminal Bolts. Once a very popular skilling money making for players, I loved doing my Bloodwood Tree drops. Bloodwood trees look cool, they're in very niche places, you could plant one and play your own farm, and had a lot of really cool niche uses, and you no longer fucking touch them because the wilderness flash events nuked them into the ground, and also that crossbows suck. So there's a lot of reasons why they needed to make this change, for sure. Is it not a drop? Is it not a nerf since Relic drops at least 10, which is also 1 mil? Oh wait, you guys are a little bit behind. Yes, I think so. I have to look at it again, but I think he's talking about Zamorak. We want to see that return, so we've replaced that drop with a drop consisting of we want to see that return where people start doing criminal bolt runs. So we replaced that drop with a drop consisting of regular and combination runes. Similarly, we removed the wilderness weapon drops as they were being dropped in abundance from the reward stacks, but increased the chance of them from Wilderness Slayer chests. I like that. Cherry on top of the 50% increase in Dark Onyx cores are insane. All right, Vorkath. I love Vorkath in terms of stacking caskets and his actual drops. Vorkath is one of the most lucrative bosses in the game per hour, like honestly. So increasing the amount, increase the chance of getting invoked bones by 17%, increase the drop chance of spikes by 10%, increase the quantity from 4 to 6 to 5 to 7. So I don't know if it's gonna go up. It's going down. The price will go down. Hard mode, increase the chance by 40%, increase the chance by 40% for both the bones and the scales. When we reviewed Vorkath, we determined it didn't receive any nerfs or replacements, but instead needed to receive an increased chance to receive Vorkath's rares. They are pretty rare. It's like 1 in 70 or some shit. It's pretty crazy. So that's a pretty big buff, but it's also a nerf in regards to how much money you'll make, because these things aren't going to come in that often. Huge buff for Iron Man, kind of a nerf for main accounts. We'll see how it ends up being. Like Vorkath's not a popular boss because it's coded so badly. But now Rasial. Rasial is the #1 moneymaker in the game for AFK nerds. Literally, people make accounts to farm AFK Rasial, baby. It is insane what you end up getting from this man. So it is going to see a nerf of Onyx Boltis from 80 to 65, Onyx Dust from 60 to 45, large blunt Necronium salvage from 2 to 1, quantity of medium spiky Orichalcum salvage from 8 to 6, Torstal Seeds from 40 to 58, from 40 to 8. Oh my god. Split this drop into 1 to 3 potential seed drops and added Storefruit Seeds and Fell Stalks. Drops in quantities of 8 to 7. Okay. Replace the original Dwarfweed seed drops with a slot with a chance of 80 from Elder, with Elder or Eternal Magic Wood. That's good. I like that. 5 to 8 to 4 to 7. Okay. That should probably be a good one. Rasial is consistently popular boss, especially because of his source of the T95 necromancy weapons. The changes above are aimed at alchemists once again, as well as things like the Onyx Touch, which contribute to the Onyx problem we discussed earlier. The seeds were also reduced in quantity due to the soul amount coming from Rasial, with the amount choking the supply a bit to allow them to regain some value. Here's some data to highlight the situation. Every single day, Rasial is responsible for 50% of the Torstal Seeds ending the game, tied with inflation from Zamorak, which sits at 45%. Dwarfweed Seeds, 25% of them coming into the game are a result of Rasial. Rasial sits at second place for the highest contributor of these seeds, with the first being Zamorak, mentioned before, and 45% of the Onyx Dust coming into the game, fluctuating but tied with the Arch-Glacor at 36%. It is a wild amount of things solely coming in from Rasial. Oh my days. Thank you for reaching the end. This is a long post. So yeah, they better thank me for reaching the end. Oh my god. Woo! And here we are at the end. We thank you for taking the time to read through this behemoth of a blog, and hope that we've illustrated the situation on why updates like this are important. As always, we will be keeping an eye on your feedback, monitoring the effects of these changes whenever they go live. Adjustments will be made where necessary as we watch the effects of these changes in real time. Finally, we'd like to hear from from other in-game content you think would need a game health update as well. We also have many things we'd like to correct and improve on ourselves. We know as a community, we know that you as a community are experts who have plenty of great ideas to share. Oh my god, Becky, look at the drops. They are plummeting into the ground and suffering immensely. So, wow. I am amazed. Am I appalled? Not necessarily. Am I shocked? Yes, I am shocked, more so for the reason they did not bring up the treasure hunter problem that was the sole argument for a lot of these things. They addressed it minorly with the amount of cash bags coming into the game. They addressed it minorly only with that line. They did not talk about proteins. They did not talk about bonus XP. They did not talk about the dummies, the portables. They did not talk about the lamps. They didn't talk about all of those things coming into the game that affect people all the time. It is insane, the amount of money that comes into these things. We will have to see how all of those things end up turning up, and it's going to be absolutely brutal. Thank you for the 2 coins. That is insane. But to be honest, overall, I'm always a guy who looks at results rather than looking at numbers. Why? I can't do math. I don't know the percents of how these things overall feel. It's insane. So it's kind of nuts how all of these things are going to end up being. I think that a lot of these things are going to be very, very, very impactful to the economy in a lot of different ways. I think Iron Man are low-key going to get shafted with some of these things, because when it comes to economy updates, who gives a shit what Iron Man are doing? Because they don't trade gold. They don't put gold into the economy. They are self-sufficient. So anything, all of this is maintaining towards main accounts, but the Iron Men are going to suffer from a lot of the common loot coming in. It's going to be pretty brutal. Yo, that's kind of fucked. What the fuck is this? Why are you giving a chair and a rope? What the fuck? It's gonna be it's gonna be brutal. They are getting shafted. They are. Dude, that's insane. I'll just never make overload since they made torso seeds fucking rare as hell. Not even the mahogany chair is wild. So really this update is a big nerf but a big buff at the same time for rares. So a lot of the commons are coming into the game. The commons will come in less, but the rares will be there. So the thought process for me as a common soul thinking about this, right? I'm thinking that if they're gonna be introducing a lot less commons, what is this? I don't need. If they're introducing a lot more of these things for the salty ones, if they're introducing a lot more of these things into the game, right? A lot more common, a lot more rares into the game. That's probably hoping to offset how much money you actually make per hour. So every single money maker on YouTube, every single boss guide that gives you money per hour, all of them joints are going to be outdated because those numbers per hour that are usually already bumped up because people like to bump the numbers up in those titles are going to end up being less lucrative. However, think about the cockatrice egg. The cockatrice egg went from 6.5k to 100 coins and it's taken 2 years to recover to 1k. This is a long-term change that we're going to feel the brunt of immediately. And as someone who likes to look at the long term, you got to think about the long term of where all these things are going to happen. As long as you're still making good money per hour and your gear is still in like a reasonable price range where the merchants don't get to run rabbit and the common dude at the everyday 9-to-5 Joe is able to get their shit, I think at the end of the day, it'll feel okay. It looks fucking bad right now is what I think. It looks fucking bad right now. However, big fat comma, put a period there actually. If this fucking backfires, this is gonna be pretty bad. I don't make games, I play them. So I'm gonna see until all these things get implemented. I want to see it do better. I don't know how this overall mathematics will look like, but I do think that seeing more broadcasts and like seeing more broadcasts for what the stuff you're doing and more it's like Raksha getting a broadcast you want, bro. You go 100 kills dry at Raksha and you get a fucking pair of boots, a new pair of sneakers to break up that dry streak. There is nothing more that makes you wanna not pay your subscription. As like it's fucking brutal. So it'll be really good to see how all that comes out. I think so. Your money per hour is now 3 mil per hour unless you get a unique. That is not good. True. Like that is, yeah. I think it's kind of like turning everybody into like how Raksha is now. But don't change anything about the fact that you can AFK bosses like Rasial and get 20 kills an hour there. There was bigger issues to handle. Yes. I'll start reading y'all now. Also, no talk about the Revel plus in boss encounters. Yes, that is a huge thing, car guy. Yeah. So I'll tell you right now. As somebody who hates necromancy, as someone who hates necromancy, all right. As someone who hates necromancy, I AFK Rasial because it's in the game and it's available to me. Why wouldn't I AFK Rasial? Why wouldn't I? Because if he drops a 600 mil drop, I want a piece of that because it's free. Why would I not want to do that? That's insane. So look at this shit. I'll do it right now. I'll show you how easy it is and how people do this on 20 accounts. It's insane how people do this. And to be fair, as someone who's made literally doubled their net worth camping Rasial, I am in full support of nerfing Rasial because it is disgusting. You think I'm bad at this, dude? You think I'm bad at this? You think I'm what's it called? You think I'm bad at fucking for making an AFK guide how to do this shit? Brother, I am the tip of the iceberg. I am nothing compared to how people actually do this. It is disgusting how people are able to just sit here and do this for hours and hours. Literally every single day they will sit here and farm this man non-stop. It is insane. It's really good that they're nerfing this. I'm actually surprised they didn't just nerf Rasial's drop rate in general. I think they could have just nerfed his drop rate in general. But I know Iron Man buddies, I know people that are grinding Rasial who need the drops in general, and they're kind of suffer for that, who are trying to Iron Man their loot themselves. But the fact that this man produces so much shit into the game, it is insane. I did the math. What they call alchemos in their data, if you take the daily amount and average that over the daily accounts logging into the game, with the caveat that every account is doing bosses that drop lots of alchs, the average gold value of alchs coming into the game per account is 8 mil. How is that the main problem? So it has to be a lot. I don't even. It has to be probably what they addressed. They addressed the cash bags from Treasure Hunter. I don't like to accuse. I don't like to accuse. I don't like to accuse the developers. I like to accuse the suits. Okay, because developers are just people who clock in and out. So probably somebody who vetted the thing and was like, yo, this don't got no Treasure Hunter shit on there. They're gonna roast us. Throw the bags in there. But they didn't address how much, like me, right? They didn't address how much proteins affect that. I am someone who will actively convert every single protein I get from my daily keys into whatever skill I'm training. Because why not? I got the keys for it. I already got the shit for it. Why would I buy eternal magic logs? Why would I buy crafting? Why would I craft or fletch? Why would I do any of those things when I could just fucking wait for my daily keys, go do the VIP vault thing in Varrock and go pick up shit from there? They don't address those things. But hey, those are just a humble casual's thoughts. I think it's a little early to see how bad this is going to be. Everything needs to be in play first. Thank you so much for listening. I'll catch you in the next one. Be sure to subscribe, like, and let me know in the comments below what you think the economy is going to look like. Is it going to be better for casuals, or is the overall player base going to suffer greatly? I think the Iron Men here are really getting shafted, but only time will tell. I'll catch you next one.